Traversing through a path that seems forgotten by most as the forest has begun to take it back, vibrant colours flood my surroundings as I stroll through the ancient forest. Misty morning dew scatters the surfaces around and above me, from the ground to the leaves and branches above me, undisturbed by the world beyond its barriers. All except the ground beneath my bare feet as I walk along the familiar path. With each step I take, the life behind me springs back almost to what it was only moments before my weight was set upon it. The staff, now walking stick in hand, setting slight imprints in the ground alongside me, carries me back to the place we once found each other before. The world around me is so different, yet so familiar. Decades later, a smile graces my face now touched by time, with wrinkles and marks from the many years I have lived. The trees that were so barren long ago now look as if they touch the sky as the morning breeze rustles through their full bright green branches. With the sunrise that I'm sure is just cresting the skyline comes scattered light and shadows along the foliage around me. The vines and flowers scattered along the floor and between tree roots now spread along much more than I remember, creating a vast blanket of bright colours and textures as far as the eye can see. I pause in my steps for a moment to catch my breath and just relax for a moment. It's so early in the morning, and now standing so still, the forest comes to life as the wind moves past. Birds and beasts can be heard singing their good morning to each other. Enjoying the things I took for granted when I was much younger, I stare up at the treetops as the world moves around me as though in defiance of me, with my long white hair to my waist now kicked up at the base by a wind. That I may be so insignificant in such a now booming ecosystem only stands to confirm that I am in the perfect spot, just where I should be. I can still remember the last time I was here, for with age the only thing I kept was the memory of youth. It was my first ever adventure. I was green with excitement as I'd finally found a crew and a job that would put us on top, having freshly reached maturity just a year prior. We definitely weren't the perfect crew, but we fit well enough, I'd thought. To think that now, standing here today, this was the same place we once all trudged through together is astounding. Looking around the forest seems to have outgrown any lingering scars of the battle that once desecrated it. Truly having taken on the phrase of moving on to greener pastures, I assume. Basking in the beauty around me, and the change I believe I am finally ready to embrace a rustling to my left as the breeze against my right cheek gently caresses and pushes me to look off at what I'd been avoiding in not coming here all these years. Towering to my left stands a familiar figure, though she's definitely much taller and older than we'd last met. She's still as beautiful as ever, with her long hair dragging to the ground looking like a carpet of moss as it flows seamlessly into the brush surrounding her at the ankles. Her skin, different shades of green and brown, so beautifully mixed together that you would not be able to tell she wasn't a tree just standing in a forest if it weren't for her eyes. Vibrant pink and purple eyes stand out against her soft features as she blinks slowly, eyes that mirror the blossoms of the trees that surround her. And with a soft, welcoming yet sad smile, standing just a few feet off the path I had been taking. She holds out a hand to me as she calls with a voice now mature and full of honey. "Welcome back, my old friend. It has been quite long since we've last met." My eyes water a bit as I lean more on my walking stick and turn to look up at what has become of the little seedling of a dryad I remember last having seen with soot and ash dusting her delicate face and tears filling her eyes, making them look like two water lilies sat upon a pond on the cloudiest of days. To think that this is the same person now grown, mature, and confident as she stands among the trees in the home we were able to give her is astounding. I guess you truly never know how big of a footprint you've left behind until you stop to turn back. With a slight shake to my voice, I croak, "That it has been, little sap." The nickname I gave her the day we'd met seems to break her just for a moment, as I see the flash of that cloudy pond for just a breath before she tilts her head slightly and asks the question I knew she'd already know the answer to. "It is good to see you, old friend, but why have you come back after so long away?" I glance over her shoulder to the tiny glade I know is there. Well, little one, I believe we both know what I would be here for. She turns slightly to look too, though I know she knows what is there. This is her home after all. You've come to ask for the favour owed to you for your courage. It's a statement. I nod, although she can't see me with her head turned, and slowly make my way to her side off the path. Yes, little one. I believe I now know what I must ask of you. She turns back to me, and I catch a glimpse of the little girl I once left here. Confusion and sadness floods her face before she composes herself. Of course, and I'm prepared to fulfill the debt I have always owed. She stands now with her hands poised at the base of her stomach on bated breath, waiting for me to ask for things humans are known to ask for. Wishes, youth, and treasures, all of which I know she has naught of. I croak out an old woman's laugh, full of grit and a release of stress, as I pat her on the arm and continue past her to that glade. Come now, little sap. It won't be whatever it is your little mind has come up with in my absence. She follows suit and walks alongside me quietly as we both enjoy the beauty of the peace surrounding us. As we reach the edge of the glade, she finally speaks again, this time much more timid, only helping to bring my mind back more as I reminisce of the last time we'd met. Laurie. She now uses the name I gave her all those years ago. Now she's the only one left to remember it. Will you now tell me what it is you want? A wave of grief washes over me as I look out to the middle of the glade, where 4 patches of land lay untouched by all but the wild flowers, each with its own pile of stones atop it. I stare at them a moment longer, remembering placing those stones there, with hands covered in blood and dirt still uncalloused and unaffected by time. With tears rushing down my face and a tiny little girl by my side, helping to place smaller rocks, using her magic to keep them from tumbling down as she cried with me. The empathy of a child will always be as deep as the ocean with no bounds to it. As that memory floods my mind, I look back to the woman beside me and reach up to brush some of her stunning hair out of her face. Well, little sap. I take a deep breath as I ready for the tears that may come from either me or her. My time is fast approaching, and I was hoping you would help me lay to rest among those who I will cherish the most. I glance to the rocks again as her eyes begin to widen and well with tears. Mine follows as I look back at her. I can think of no better place to find my peace than beside those who gave their incredibly long lives, so that I may live mine longer than what I should have had. Tears begin to stream down our faces, hers looking like a river of water falling along a tree leaf and into the dirt as I stare into her stunning eyes. And I can think of no better person than to spend my last moments with. I smile sadly up at her with a face I'm sure is full of conviction as she realizes that I am well and truly an old woman now, and with that comes the stubbornness of 1,000 mules. That no matter what she has to say to me, this is my choice, and it is not her place to do anything but follow and offer comfort. And so with the maturity and conviction I always wish to see upon her face, she holds out her arm for me again, and we make our way out to my oldest friends. Reaching the patches of land, I see the etchings we'd scratched into the dirt many years ago now lay still untouched. I kneel down in front of them all as the dryad named Safrina kneels beside me. I read them out loud one by one. Marco Fang, age 19, died in battle protecting the ancient forest of Everglade. My voice shakes with each name. Ellie Lightington, age 22, died in battle protecting the ancient forest of the Everglade. Bringing their stories to light one last time with each word I read aloud. Baron Fright, age 22, died in battle, protecting the ancient forest of the Everglade. Safrina holding my hand as we both cry over the last effigy. Alexander Malik, age 20, gave his life to protect the life of lover Laurie Malik during the battle, protecting the ancient forest of the Everglade. The silver band on my left hand now feels heavier than the day I first lost him. We were young and fell in love quickly. We thought ourselves invincible, so we thought a wedding could wait until after the battle. I spoke our story out loud for the first time since it occurred. A weight lifted off our shoulders. Sat beside me stares at me through her lashes, covered in tears, like waiting for a librarian to conclude story time. We were wrong, of course, but I still took his name so that one day maybe we could meet again and start over. Safrina cries a bit harder, our shoulders shaking as we hold each other through our sadness, overflowing the cups we'd held them in for so long. We stay that way for a long time, until the sun carries itself until it is overhead of the glade, and our sobs fall off into sniffles. We lay now in the grass with my friends, buried to the left of me, and Safrina laying to the right. We watch the clouds pass and the branches sway for a while. I listen as Safrina tells me all about the decades I missed. Finally, as the sun sets, the sky turns to night, and the stars light up our view, I turn to look again at Safrina. She stares solemnly at me as I nod to her, signaling that it is finally time. She holds my hand as we stare off into the stars. I hear her humming a song so raw and beautiful, I wish I knew the words to it. Finally, I let go of all I have left and fall into myself. I close my eyes for a moment and open them again to see me standing above myself and Safrina as she hums over me, tears streaming down her face and a hand to my chest. She glows a beautiful light green as the ground takes my body down alongside my friends. I watch as she gathers stones, sets them up, and etches down my story too. The ground beneath the stones reads, Laurie Malik, beloved friend of Safrina, Marco, Ellie, and loving wife of Alexander Malik, age 100, died of old age beside her oldest friends, protector of the Everglade forest. Before I leave to whatever awaits me, I hear Safrina whisper while bent over my stones weeping, Goodbye, my old friend. My debt to you is paid.